Hey everybody, welcome into a special edition of Extreme Radio built by MDI Construction Inc. Make sure you check them out for all of your commercial construction needs. Number is 615-384. Blanking on the rest of the number. That's what happens when you're not used to doing this. Anyways, go check them out. You can check out some of the stuff they do on Facebook. They're a sponsor of Paul Kuharski, traveling around and covering the Titans, so pretty big, pretty cool stuff. Check it out their website, but really appreciate those guys sponsoring us. We are here at the office on a Monday night because we're insane like that. We are going to do our mock draft. Myself and Isaiah Austin, we are going to do a mock draft, and at the same time, it's also going to be announcing the roster for the 2017 Extreme All-Star Game. Now, all of these guys, and there's 36 guys, we bumped it up from 34 to 36, but all 36 of these guys will be showing up on Thursday around noon, and we'll broadcast it, but we're actually going to split the teams up with a draft, and it'll be Coach Daniel Meek and Trent Legate for Team Legate, and then it'll be Coach Ryan Scott and Elijah Jones for Team Jones. And so we're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's going to be a blast. We did it last year between Coach Don Brown and Travis Creasy, and it really turned out well. You guys had a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited. Isaiah, I know you've been doing homework all day, man. I know that you played this year, and so you got to see a lot of these guys firsthand, and so you're definitely going to have a unique take on some of these players.
Yeah, I feel like from my side in this mock draft, I'm going to be going based off of, I guess, statistics, but how they performed against me and how I feel like, their skill level is on the field, not a little bit less stat-wise, more performance on the field.
All right, and I'm double-checking. I didn't get a notification to say we were live, though. You got it? All right. We are live. You're right. We're live. How dare I doubt Trent? Trent's the man. Anyways, yeah. Spencer obviously having the night off, but he works hard, so he deserves some time off. So we're gonna jump straight into this, and Trent Legate over here producing the show. We're gonna jump straight into this, and Isaiah, I mentioned right before the show that I had an idea of a special way of figuring out who got the toss. So here's my idea. I'm going to ask you a question, and if you give me the correct answer, and it's not hard, it's not trivia, but if you give me the correct answer, the technical answer, then you get the first pick. If you do not get it, then I get the first pick. And if
you're really putting me on the spot here. All right, let's do it.
James is having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll be back with you in 3, 2, 1.
All right, I'm back. Can you hear me? Anyways, Isaiah, I don't know if you heard what I said. I don't know why Discord kicked me off. Thanks, Spencer. Everything breaks down when you're not here. Anyways, Isaiah, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you can give me the correct technical answer, then you get the first pick. If you cannot guess the answer, and this isn't trivia, it's not hard, but if you cannot guess the answer, then I get the first pick. And if you would like, we'll swap roles after I ask my question. You can ask me a question. We'll do it that way. What do you think?
I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
All right. So, Isaiah, and I had one of these earlier, so that's what made me think of this question. When you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich,
what?
Which one are you supposed to put on first?
Oh my gosh. I always put the peanut butter on first.
And why is that?
Because by the time the jelly's on the bread, it's already starting to soak in and stuff. You want to get the peanut butter there so the jelly doesn't soak into both sides of the bread. It soaks more into the peanut butter. Like, you know how you put peanut butter and jelly, some people put it in a blender. That's how it tastes its best.
I've never thought about putting it in a blender.
I've known
different.
people who have.
All right, that's the correct answer. It's not the correct reason. The correct reason is because if you start putting – if you put jelly, usually people will use one knife unless you're like super freaky about germs. So if you use one knife, you put jelly on your sandwich, and then you put jelly – and then you dip that knife back into the peanut butter. Slowly, you're putting jelly residue in that peanut butter jar that's then going to sit in the cabinet, and the fruit could go bad. Whereas if you dip peanut butter in and then you're putting it in the jelly jar and then putting it in the refrigerator, nothing's going to happen. Does that make sense?
Have you researched this in the past, or
I haven't. It was something my wife pointed out to me. Like when we first got married, I really didn't care. Like I would go back and forth, and she started asking me. So like it's just something that's stuck in my head. But you did give the correct answer, and as much as I want the first overall pick, because I already know who I want, I don't think we're going to pick the same person. Hopefully, so
I don't think we are either.
Without further ado, Mr. Isaiah Austin has the first overall pick in the 2017 Extreme All-Star Game draft. Mock draft.
All right, so with the first pick, I'm taking Hayden Weeks from FCA. 90 tackles.
Oh!
Yeah. 90 tackles and 776 rushing yards in the regular season. That's ridiculous. It's an obvious choice for me.
That's crazy. All right, and also like we said, when we make your pick, that means that's also announcing that you're going to play in the game, that you've been invited and you've accepted. So, first one right off the bat, Hayden Weeks. Last year struggled with injuries and didn't have as great of a year as he maybe could have, but obviously had a strong year this year. Like you said, 90 tackles, 13 tackles for loss is what I'm seeing, and that's just in 8 games worth of stats. So fantastic year for Hayden, and a great way to finish out his senior year. So congrats to Hayden. All right, with my first pick, I am a strong supporter that every team should be built around the quarterback position. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to go anywhere. And actually, Isaiah, you can attest to that. Based off of last year, you guys had the injury bug hit you, and it took Cole Warren out. And then as you guys started cycling through guys playing quarterback and they kept getting hurt, you guys struggled because you didn't have a quarterback. Is that right?
Yeah, and this might surprise you, but I actually had to take some snaps at quarterback. Like we got that far down the line.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty far down the line.
And it's rough not having, like, you can have leaders on a team. They can be great leaders, but it's just not the same without quarterback leadership. That's one thing that's really important. And Jack did as good as he could. Jack did a great job, but there's nothing like Cole's leadership for the team.
All right, so with my well, I'm not going to have the first overall pick, but with my first pick, I'm going to take a guy who has been overlooked. He's a 3-year starter, been with the team for 4 years, struggled with injuries last year. And it's not Cole Warren. Now, Cole Warren was invited to the All-Star game, and we will release a list of guys who were invited and did not come and a list of guys who were on reserves. I'm going to take a quarterback who's been overlooked. His team's been overlooked, but his team was virtually unstoppable. With 118 carries, 1,300 yards, and then 14 rushing touchdowns, he was 18 of 32 throughout the year, only 1 interception, 6 touchdowns, 476 passing yards. With my first pick, I'm going to take senior Dustin Stinsby from St. Andrew Swanee School. And he's a solid pick. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the All-Star game. I'm excited to see him up there. And I think he's gonna really show up, and he's had a great career. So I'm excited. He also led his team, which I forgot to mention yesterday. He led his team to where the NHSA tournament in Florida actually invited Swanee to come, but it was before the playoffs, and they weren't able to make the timing happen. So he led his team to an NHSA invite, kind of like Christian Community, but. He's been there with Coach Hargis for forever, and they've become very good friends. They've got a lot of seniors on that team that have been there forever. So, yeah, I love my first pick. So Dustin Stinsby is my first overall pick.
And James, I'll add real quick that was actually my next pick. I mean, he really came in off of injuries, played fantastic, and he's an even better person.
Well, I'm glad I took him away from you. I knew that was going to happen at some point. We were going to take each other's picks. That was bound to happen. That happens in every draft.
Were you going to take him with the first overall? Were you planning on that?
Yes, I was actually. No offense to Hayden, no shot at Hayden, but I wanted to get myself a solid, and there's a lot of solid quarterbacks. There's 3 other solid quarterbacks that y'all are going to hear about. We went with 4 quarterbacks this year. That way each team could have 2. Yeah, so I was going to take Dustin overall. But Mr. Austin, I believe you have the 3rd pick now.
Yeah, well, I'm seeing a guy on this list that I'm thinking about taking, but I don't want to take the same position. So I'm going to take the defensive lineman for St. Andrews Sewanee, Jalen Tillman. He is a force to be reckoned with.
Wow.
Crazy athlete. I could see him playing at college. He could play D1 if he wanted to. Fantastic athlete.
Yeah, he's solid. I know Trent has loved him all year. He's got nothing but compliments from other teams' players. So, wow. And he's also a solid pick there on the offensive line too. I mean, he's the kind of guy that, Hayden Weeks is used to having Zane Quibido and Grant Harrison block for him. He's used to having some big boys, and that's just going to make him feel even more comfortable and more at home because he's going to have a big old boy in front of him trying to clear the space for him.
Yeah, and I feel like a strategy for a lot of teams going against St. Andrews Sewanee was to more run the ball as far from him as possible than try to get him one-on-one, because he's a big guy that can run miles. I mean, he's just spectacular athlete.
All right, well, Trent says sounds like me. All right, well. Wow.
I saw the push-up contest, Trent. Nice 10.
Wow. All right. Well, with my fourth overall pick, my 2nd pick, I want to keep the middle of my offense solid, and I like what this guy has done on defense. 45 tackles, 11 tackles for loss. I mean, this guy was a beast all year. Let me see if I can pull up his sacks real quick. That's just on the defensive side. On the offensive side of the ball, he's been a solid pick, and I really like what he's done. He was in the All-Star game last year. So, ladies and gentlemen, from Franklin Christian Academy, I'm going to take senior, the man with charisma, and he's got personality. Mr. 89, Zane Quibido, is going to be my pick, and I love what he can do on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
You made me think you were about to take Josh Austin.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Are you there, Isaiah?
Yeah, I'm here. Are we ready for the fifth pick right here?
If you don't have anything to say about Zane, having faced him.
Yeah. Zane has played the entire game. I mean, I think I have some stats on him here. Let me see real quick. No, I don't. But Zane.
My computer's being stupid, but I would pull up his sack stats if I could.
Zane is one of the funniest people I've ever met. And
exactly.
you got to have him on a team, but all jokes aside, I mean, Zane has been dominant for years, and I'm just glad to see him have a really successful season this year.
By the way, a shout out to all 16 of you watching or listening to the show. If you guys want to go watch, we are 17 views away from 1,000 on the championship game from Saturday. I mean, it's fantastic. We had 97 people watching at one point. People from Montana, South Carolina, Ohio, and I know there's some people in Florida. So people all over the U.S. were watching that game, and it was really, really awesome. Some people in Georgia. So if you guys want to go check it out, just go to our YouTube, and it's one of the first videos that pops up. Just look for the big views number, and we've shattered our record so far. Mr. Austin, I believe that you have the fifth overall pick.
Yes, I do. And despite already having this position selected, I think this guy's been left off the board for a little too long, and this would be an amazing 1-2 punch. I'm taking Isaiah Webb out of CCS.
I was about to say why you haven't taken him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially, well, he had such a game Saturday, and the big thing for me, he's had a season, yeah. And the thing, and he was there at the All-Star game last year. He had a great year at defensive end and a solid year at linebacker. But That's a pretty good pick. I mean, that's as much as he kept getting hurt Saturday, Isaiah. And you know this firsthand. You saw him keep going down, and they could not keep him out of that ball game. So that's pretty solid, man. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, and before the championship, he had 98 carries for 908 yards. And, I mean, anybody who watched that championship, it's pretty obvious he probably rushed for over 200 yards in that game. So that takes him around, I'd say, around 1,100 yards on the season. That's ridiculous. And, yeah, he definitely deserved the top pick in this mock draft and in the real draft.
Yeah, that's
Dang,
crazy.
don't put pressure on me or nothing.
Trent,
That was what
I don't know if Elijah's listening or not, but I know Trent's listening to this going, man, this is putting some pressure on me.
I'm just thinking y'all's picks, like, come on, how do you know how to take this?
Now, something I do want to say is, of course, we got 36 guys coming. There's 18 per team. So there's going to be 18 picks for each of us. So if you don't go in the top 3, that doesn't mean we don't like you. It means that we have to pick 18 guys. And so, not everybody's going to go in the top 3.
Yeah, and also to add to that, y'all
Yeah,
took
and
me.
it's already a huge accomplishment to make the All-Star game. These are the best of the best. There's no disrespect on getting picked down the line. You made it. You were successful this season. You made the All-Star game.
Yeah, and just something to say. I was taking a mock draft like the 18th pick or something last year, and then in the real draft I was taking with the 8th pick. So, I think I was. I wasn't sure.
This is just me and Isaiah sitting back and like hypothetically saying these are the guys we like. So, anyways, all right. So with my pick, of course, I've got the 6th overall pick, and okay, gotcha. Sorry, got to text it. With my 6th pick, I'm going to stay with the trend of Christian community. And this guy, I've known him for forever. This guy is solid, and I like the way he played last year. He led the nation in 8-man teams and sacks, and he had a crazy year at the defensive end position. He was a solid running back, and he just brought a lot to the table across the board. So with my third pick, 6th overall pick, I'm going to take this number 11, senior Mr. Colton Rollins from Christian Community School. And I like what he brings in that defensive end position and on offense at several positions.
And I might add, how much did he step up on Friday night for his team? That filling in at quarterback, he played great.
Yeah, he was crazy. He made plays all over, and just the emotion he had. I understand that he got 2 personal fouls and he got ejected at the end of the game. I'm not going to hold that against him.
And as Trent would say, going out with a bang.
Exactly. I mean, as Trent would say, not as Trent would say, but I mean, you got to be emotional with something. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I love taking him at the number 3 pick. Homer.
All right.
And Trent says Homer.
I'm kidding. I love you, Ron.
Anyways, he loves Rollins. All right.
He picks one CCS player, and he's a homer.
Right? Exactly.
I would already had all Bowling Green people.
Trent goes, I would have already picked Bowling Green by 4 picks. Anyway.
If you think that's a homer, with my 7th pick, I'm going to take Jaden Frazier.
I could have sworn you were about to say I'm going to take Josh Austin, and I was going to laugh my butt off.
That is literally
really want to talk about Homer, like literally in home next to my bedroom. Like I have to sleep next to this dude.
Josh is just staring at him right now. Like,
Josh
you gonna pick me?
I don't know. Is Josh like staring at you? Be like, pick me.
No, he's in the other room. He gets real loud.
Oh, is he? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but for Jaden. Through the first 7 games, he had 276 receiving yards, and he ran the ball for 14 yards per carry, got 4 fumble recoveries, and a kick return touchdown. He's just a guy that you can put anywhere, and led the team in tackles this year.
Yeah, he was crazy. He's got some cool visits going on. Some colleges. I know he was at Carson Newman last week. He's going to go to, I think, Notre Dame at some point. I mean, he's been everywhere, and that's
I
really,
went to Washington
really
State
awesome.
a few weeks ago. That's pretty awesome.
He's making it. Yeah, I need a water, please. We get free water. Never mind. You're at your house. You get free water too. Anyways, come on. All right. Well, Trent wants to play that clip of Steve Spurrier going, all right, let's keep this moving.
There is one player, though, I cannot believe that hasn't been picked.
Who's that? If Trent's mic were working, you could hear him, but
I'm talking through yours.
he said there's one pick that he can't believe. There's one kid he can't believe hasn't been picked. Who is it, Trent?
It's Brandon Miner.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's coming up.
All right. So I took a quarterback, taking a lineman, taking a defensive player. But that quarterback needs somebody to throw to, and he needs a playmaker. And I'm going to take a kid that, man, he's only played in 6 games all year. But this kid, every team he's played, the team has just been wowed by him almost, and just amazed at what he's been able to do. So with my 4th pick, I'm going to take a senior from Lighthouse Christian School, number 1, Malik McMurray. And I'm going to give my quarterback, Dustin Stinsby, a fast downfield target who can also cut across the middle, and he can run the jet sweep. He can give me some wildcat option. But I like what Malik has been able to do this year, so that's my pick.
Yeah, and although I didn't get to see Lighthouse play this year, I've heard a lot of really good things about this kid. Just really fast, really, really coordinated. I've only heard good things about him.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm pretty confident in my picks. That was a good pick. That was a good pick. I'm trying to be methodical and hit different positions.
I mean, there's some Bowling Green players.
They're coming. All right, Mr. Austin.
All right, so with are we at 9 now? Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, for my 9th pick, I'm taking someone that I think has been overlooked this entire season because of the team's record, but his stats are too good to be overlooked. This isn't just a fluke or something like this. Is ridiculous. I'm taking John Trahan from RCA.
Wow. Yeah, that's one of those. And you guys got a chance to play them, and we've seen them several times. And there's going to be a few players in this draft, and guys selected in the All-Star game that people are maybe going to scratch their heads. Maybe they weren't on teams that did great. Maybe 1, 2-win teams, no-win teams, 3-win teams, and people are going to scratch their heads and really wonder if we were right to make that pick. But this is a solid pick, man. And he's only a junior, so he's only going to be better. Riverside has a lot of youth, a lot of good, really young players. They got a kid named Crutcher Zell who's a freshman. And as a DB, I mean, if you combine JV and varsity, I think he's got 10 picks on the year. And he's been just ridiculous. So that's a really good pick, man.
Yeah, and at FCS, where we kind of hung our hats on defense the whole year, it was like John Trahan completely chopping up our defense that first half. He was completely dominant, and he got almost 1,400 total yards and 70 tackles.
That's crazy. What were you going to say, Trent?
Well, I just want to say
yeah, Trent's trying to make this happen over here. All right, go ahead. Give it a shot. Go ahead.
I'm new to this.
And at the same time, you can't argue with the 9 picks we made. I mean, they're all really good players. And I'll tell you from experience from last year, we had 25 guys turn down invitations to the All-Star game total. And we only had 28 end up coming. Matter of fact, 5 guys turned it down. 5 guys backed out the week of the All-Star game. So it was crazy. It was a mad scramble to try to make it happen. But, the Lord helped us make it happen. And it was a great ball game. Everybody had fun. Everybody had a blast. I mean, you had guys that nobody – I was watching it today, and you had a guy, DJ Slayton, who nobody, really thought about, and he ended up scoring the first touchdown for Team Away and making it a
Don't you mean Sweetness?
Sweetness, yeah, whatever. He made it a 12-7 ball game, so guys like that can get overlooked. All right, well,
I just want to say one more thing. There's only one
let me
pick.
mute my mic.
I'm about to.
Oh, here we go. Except for the fact that I have the next pick, sir.
Oh,
I have the next pick. Is that Spencer?
No.
Oh, I thought that was Spencer. All right. Well, unfortunately for you, Mr. Austin, I have the next pick. So, well, let me go back to my draft board. I have a draft board. With my next pick, I'm going to take a guy that another guy that I've known for a while, and it's not because of personal ties. This guy was starting varsity football in 8th grade, and he was a beast. He was making plays. He has for a while. He's been a little under the radar. He hasn't played on great teams. He's played on some pretty bad teams, actually. But this guy, every time you watch him play, he's going to make at least 5 or 6 plays for you that you just shake your head and wonder how it's made. And so with my 5th pick, I'm going to go to the Tennessee Heat, and I'm going to take number 40, junior Chris Savely. I like the way that he's played. I like what he's done. And I think that, having him on one end and having Colton Rollins on the other, I really like how I look at defensive end.
So you took.
yeah, and he's just another reason why the Heat's future is looking pretty good. They have a lot of really good players. No seniors, but I mean, I think they're really going to step up next year, and they're going to have a pretty good season next year with him and what's his name, running back.
Well, I know they just got a new
Redding.
quarterback, Preston Sloan. Oh, Redding. Yeah,
Redding,
James Redding
that's
is
it,
their running
Redding.
back. Well, they did have one senior. Ryan Scott was a senior this year.
Oh, gotcha.
He was a wide receiver, and then he switched to quarterback when Canaan White left. But you're right. I mean, when Bowling Green and the Heat played, I think there were like 3 seniors total, maybe 4. So I mean, there was a lot of youth across the board. I like this pick. I like what he brings to the field. I like what he brings to the defensive side of the ball. So that's my pick. Mr. Austin, you're up. 11th overall pick.
All right, I'm going to take Andrew Schindel from FCA.
Oh my!
Wow.
Great pick. Great pick.
It's a solid pick.
Was that the receiver
Not solid,
you were talking
no,
about,
great
Trent?
No.
He says no. I'm going to pull up. Let's see, Schindel. 9 catches, which Schindel actually had to finish the year at quarterback for Franklin Christian. But you look at him at a wide receiver, 9 catches, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and that was I think he only got to play that for like 3 games. I mean, he played some receiver. He played running back too. Schindel, 71 carries, 829 yards, 9 touchdowns. So that gives you a lot of. I mean, you already got 2 solid. You've got the FCA. You got the FCA backfield on your team already. And then if you look at Schindel, 41 tackles, interceptions. He had 4 interceptions, 6 passes defense. So that's a pretty solid pick on both sides of the ball there for you, Isaiah.
Yeah, he's a guy that you can pretty much put at any position because he's pretty much played every position except for the line. He's played some receiver. He played running back for most of the year. He played quarterback for the last couple of games. I mean, I really like this pick.
It's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Well, with my 6th pick, and it's crazy how we're already 30 minutes in. We've only made 11 picks. But that's good that we're breaking down our picks.
A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about.
Big,
so, by the way,
week.
Congratulations to these 11 guys that we've announced already. You guys have had great years. We're looking forward to seeing you up at Dayton for the All-Star game, Extreme All-Star game that is Saturday, 2 p.m. There you go.
And don't forget, you want to be a part of Team Trent.
All right. Yeah. What? Hey, how about this? Fantasy football back in the day, like the NFL players would do the tricks and then say pick me or something like that. How about you guys do that? Like do a pick me video. Like whether if you want to play for Team Legate with Daniel Meek or Team Jones with Ryan Scott. There you go. All you got to do.
I can hear Trent sweating over there.
He's like, oh no. Well, I mean, he would only sweat if like players sent in push-up videos of like them doing like 50 push-ups or something. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, with my 6th pick, you took his buddy, and I like what this guy did. He started the year at running back and fullback. He had to switch to quarterback after his quarterback went down, and his team finally found their stride against Lighthouse. They really stepped it up. He had a fantastic year at linebacker. I mean, this guy is ridiculous. I'm trying to pull up his stats right now. With my 6th pick, I'm going to go to Riverside Christian, and I'm going to get their sophomore linebacker, Riley Hall. He is a solid pick all around. He gives you a lot on offense. He gives you, or on defense, and on offense, he gives you some stuff to work with. And what I like about the All-Star game this year, we're going to have 18 guys per team. So if you've got guys that just want to play defense, you can do that and have enough guys to take care of everything. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe since he's just a sophomore, he might just want to play defense. And if that's the case, then whoever gets him, Team Legate or Team Jones, they've got a solid linebacker waiting for him.
There's a linebacker out there that, you know, I love. And I can't wait.
Oh my.
Yeah, but yeah, Riley Hall, I remember him being ultra competitive, just going every single play. He was at middle linebacker, correct? Number 33, right?
I want to see. Yeah, he was 33, number 33. I want to see he was a middle linebacker. I know he bounced around at linebacker a little bit.
Yeah, that was.
But yeah,
that's where he started.
Yeah, that's where he started. And like I said, he started playing fullback and running back. He was like a tandem with Trahan. And then for a couple games, they were trying to make Trahan play quarterback, and that just did not go well. So they moved him back to his natural position, and Riley Hall stepped in at quarterback and just took off with it. So
Riverside got some guys.
Yeah, Riverside's got a future, just like the Heat and just like Bowling Green Christian. I mean, there's some teams that didn't have a lot of seniors this year that struggled, but there's some teams that have got some youth stacked up, and that's just going to show for years and years.
Yeah, and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I don't think you can really look back on this season and for Riverside and say, well, that's their team, because their team is a young team, and two guys in Riley Hall and John Trahan, those are first-class players. They're some of the best the league has to offer. So I wouldn't be surprised if Riverside made a huge jump next year.
Well, and the thing about Trahan is he can play defensive back too. He's small enough and quick enough to where if he needs to you know, swap out and he needs to go get a slot receiver or something, he's not going to struggle with that. He's going to be just fine. And you know, if you're at the All-Star game and you need a guy to step in at quarterback for a couple plays, Riley Hall went 46 of 89, 578 yards, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks. So he was a quarterback. He was just filling in for David Black. But I like what he did. And you know, 2014, Riverside struggled. They didn't have a great year, but they came back last year and were super. I mean, the only losses they had were to FCA and Webb. And, you know, they came out with a lot of confidence and swagger and had a great bowl game against Christian Community. So, you know, that really, they've got a bright future ahead of them. But Riley Hall just got his stats up. 77 tackles on the year, 6 tackles for loss, had a sack, had 2 quarterback hurries. So, you know, he was at another level this year. Had an interception, 3 passes defensed, forced fumble recovery. So he was all over the place this year and just a fiery guy. I'm really excited to pick him. And Mr. Austin, I believe that you have pick number 13.
Okay, I'm leaving one guy off the board because I want to make sure I get a lineman, but at the same time, I'm afraid you're going to take this guy next. But
all right, well, give it a shot.
I'm gonna go with AJ Varula from South Haven. You heard Xavier after the game. He was talking about how great his lineman did, and
hey guys, Isaiah.
Yeah.
I hate to put you on the spot, but I did receive word today that none of South Haven's players will be participating.
Oh.
They had some stuff come up. They actually have an event that weekend that is with the church and school. So no South Haven players are going to be at the All-Star game this year. So it kind of sucks to not have any from the state champions, but that's how it was last year. We didn't have any from Sacred Heart, that whole thing. But from the quote unquote from the technical state champions, we didn't have anybody there. So, but unfortunately, that player is not available. So you do get a mulligan though, so you get to make another pick.
Yeah, you can pick the right guy this time.
So I'm gonna take my brother Josh Austin. He's my next lineman.
Okay. All right. I'm not gonna fault you there. Believe me, if my brother played football, he's a junior, I would take him in a heartbeat. Anyways, but your brother, it's not just because he's your brother. I mean, your brother is solid. He's massive on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and we're like, let me check.
He's good.
Trent says
no,
the only stat.
Okay, this is bad, but I actually don't. I can pull those up in the next couple of minutes, so we can go back.
It's just Trent says just go ask him.
Okay, just a sec.
He's actually gonna go ask him. That's awesome. Anyways, thank you for creating dead air time. I'm just kidding. Well, while he's going to get those stats,
you want to make your announcement?
I'm going to go ahead and make my pick because we can come back and talk to him. But I was really scared when Isaiah said that he was going to take a lineman both times because I really wanted this lineman. This guy was supposed to be at the All-Star game last year, hurt his ankle. Man, he's one of those examples of he'll play anywhere. He'll play linebacker, defensive end, defensive line. He's an offensive lineman. He can go to the backfield. I mean, this guy can do anything, and I really like him. He's a great kid. He's going to be playing the Beast and Beauty the Beast, so that might have to be a little nickname that we give him. But with my pick, with the 14th overall pick, I'm going to go to Hendersonville Christian Academy, and I'm going to take Mr. Tanner Sturgis, number 70. He's a senior, and I like having the line. Zane and Tanner did not get to play this year, play each other, but right now I love the thought of having Zane Quibido and Tanner Sturgis on the same offensive and defensive lines.
Oh my gosh, that game would have been absolutely crazy.
Well, even if they not even if they just if they played each other, I'm saying like having them on the same line, like that would that would be on Graham Harrison, Zane Quibido level, like and it's just crazy, like to think of the matchups they could have been. But yeah, that's such a solid. I like that pick a lot. I like what I picked there. So there you go.
And I got a stat update.
All right, give it to us.
I don't know, like 50 to 60 tackles.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty solid stat line.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, yeah, that's better than what I could have done. So
I mean, I did that 3 games, but that's pretty good.
I did about 3 games, but it's all good. I'm going to pull Tanner Sturgis' stats right now. He's only got 4 games on max preps, but he had 25 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 3 passes defense, a fumble recovery, and 2 forced fumbles. And that was all in 4 games. So solid year for Mr. Sturgis, and I'm excited about having him on my line. So, Mr. Austin, you have the 15th pick.
Okay, so for a defensive lineman who's not really built like a defensive lineman, but he's strong enough to be a defensive lineman. He's old. I believe he was one of the top in the state in tackles and sacks this year. I don't know how we've overlooked him to this far, but I'm taking Devery Zapata.
What in the world?
Hold on a second. It's Zapata.
Oh, okay. I hear y'all saying it wrong on the show and then correcting each other. And
I'm sorry. Yeah, we like because I know him. Like I grew up with him. I not grew up with him, but like I've known him for the last 3 or 4 years, so I can give him a hard time. He's like a little brother to me. But
okay, Zapata.
Wow.
Zapata.
I really hate that because I really wanted him. That's like the first pick that I've genuinely been upset that you took him.
Tate.
I'm kind of upset about that pick.
Would you have been upset if I said if I said jam before the peanut butter?
No, because I would have gotten the first overall pick.
Touche.
It didn't matter for you.
Touche.
Anyways.
Anyways, it didn't matter. I got the guy I wanted, so it's all good.
There's somebody I can't believe y'all have not taken.
Well, it's coming. It's coming. All right.
No, he should have been taken for the first, second, or third pick, not 16.
He's over
Trent,
here freaking out.
I know exactly who you're talking about. He's coming.
Wow.
Y'all said when I mentioned him.
Wow. All right. Well, for my pick on my draft board, the guy I was going to take here was actually your first overall pick, Mr. Hayden Weeks. So for me, I need to go get me a running back. And so for running back, I'm going to get a guy, and we have him designated sort of as a defensive back, but I like what he brings to the table as a running back. A lot of people would say that he does not fit the bill, and he does not deserve to be an all-star running back. But this guy is super, super solid. So with my 16th overall pick, I'm going to take a junior. And I'm going to go to the Tennessee Heat, and I'm going to go get Mr. James Redding at running back. I really like what he's done. He is a bruiser, and he did not have a lot of yards, but he brings a lot to the table on both sides of the ball. So Mr. James Redding is going to be my 16th overall pick.
Yeah, and I think the people that say that don't understand how multidimensional his game is. I mean, I think of James Redding more as a defensive player than an offensive player.
Well, he played linebacker, and he could move out and guard defensive or wide receivers. But as a running back, he's going to give me, like, I look at my running backs, and I really haven't taken a running back yet. So for me, you've taken 2 running backs off the board already, and so I had to go ahead.
You took Hall.
Yeah, but Hall's a linebacker. Yeah, he could play running back a little bit, but I needed a running back, and I really like what James brings to the table. So James Redding is going to be my pick.
Question real quick. So, no, wait, never mind. There's still 3 quarterbacks on the board. What am I thinking? I was going to say Shendell's a quarterback.
Yeah, but I would say though that I would, like, because when you picked him, I would say that he had a good year at running back and quarterback. He stepped in, but I think at defensive back he was super solid, and he brings a lot to the table there. He actually had an interception in the All-Star game last year, and then he dropped an interception. So he had a great year last year, even just at the All-Star game. But you have the 17th pick, sir.
Okay, with the 17th pick, I'm going to pick Brandon Miner from FCA.
Finally!
Oh, he's off the board. He's off the board.
It took y'all long enough.
Wow.
13 sacks in 9 games. I mean, sheesh.
Yeah.
And I don't. To be honest, I don't think that's all of his stats. There's no way that he only had 13 sacks in 9 games.
And that's what I'm talking about, his offense.
And that's not bringing up his offense. So what we did is we said that we're going to have defensive ends / tight ends. And so he counts in that tight end position because he doesn't go out wide. But he gives you a threat in the red zone to catch touchdowns. I'm going to see if I can pull up his stats real quick on offense, because I know that he had several. I know he wasn't like a deep threat, but he was like a tight end threat at receiver. And as a senior, last year as a junior, he was number 2. He was tied for second in the nation in sacks. But I think this year he brought another dimension to his game as a tight end. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And I just want to say that was the guy I've been wanting y'all to pick since the first pick.
There you go. All right. Well, let me see. Brandon Miner. This is actually pretty. I'm surprised. 25 catches, 8 games.
let me add something about Brandon super quick. So him going in and starting at tight end this year really opened up their offense a lot because they were really run heavy, but that like 5-yard in or out play, it was completely unguardable because of how good their running game was.
But at the same time, check this out. He averaged 16 yards a catch. He had in 8 games, he had 25 catches, 404 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Oh.
So he was averaging a touchdown a game, and he was giving you that red zone threat where he's, you could just be set up 1st and 10 at the 15, and he could give you that touchdown. So that's pretty solid. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and it was probably really exciting for FCA to see how good his hands actually were after not playing much tight end before this year.
Exactly. Well, again, congratulations to the 17 guys picked so far. We're excited to have you guys up in date. Like we said, if you're gonna post something on social media, use the hashtag 2017 Extreme All-Star Game. You can look how we have it on our social media. We've been trying to put it on there. But make sure you guys get that hashtag, and let's get it going. I mean, that'd be pretty cool to get a hashtag going. All right, so with my 18th overall pick, by the way, if I sound stuffy, I'm sorry. I'm a little sick. Same. Yeah, it's the weather deciding that, you know what, we're gonna fall back to spring. That's what we're gonna do. Anyways, so with my 18th overall pick, with my 9th pick, I think it's important to get a solid kicker, and I think that this guy I'm about to take at kicker, he's solid. He can give you a field goal threat. He gives you an extra point threat. And you know what? He's not too shabby at defensive back either. So I'm going to take a senior from St. Andrew Swanee School. I'm going to take number 21, Gabe Stevens. And I like what he can do on kickoffs and extra points, field goals. But I like what he brings to the table on the defensive side of the ball as well.
Yeah, and he's a guy who can kick it short, onside it, make field goals, and kick it deep. They're really going to be multidimensional in the special teams this All-Star game. It's going to be exciting.
I like his pick. I'm trying to pull up because I know he did some stuff on defense too as a defensive back. Well, they don't have their stats on my expert. I've seen his stats somewhere, but he's had a solid year. He's been okay. Anyway, so that's my pick with number 18. So, Mr. Austin, you have the 19th.
Okay, please don't roast me for this one. Don't call me a homer, but this is my next pick.
I go ahead on Jack James.
Yeah, I'm taking Jack James.
That's really, really a good pick. And do you have his – I can pull up his stats. Do you have his stats?
I do. He got over 400 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, and played – he was on every single team. Kickoff, kick return, punt return, defense, offense. And he was still having 150-yard gain, 9 touchdowns on the year. He really made it easy for Cole.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but he punted for you guys too, right?
He did, and he was the kicker.
So there you go. I mean, if you got your punter locked in, so once you take your kicker, which we only selected 2 guys designated as kicker. So there's only one other kicker on the board, and Trent's very familiar with him. But
being completely honest, I really like the other kicker on the board. I might snag him.
You should. Don't do what happened at the draft last year. So we had Cody Reese and Antonio Zeta there last year, and Team Home decided to not draft a kicker. So Team Away ended up with both kickers. So don't do that.
Obviously showed we didn't need it.
Don't be that guy. Anyways, all right. So with my 20th pick, you took my pick. I didn't even see that. You took my 20th pick. Dadgummit.
It was a good
all
pick.
right. Well, I'm not telling you. No, I'm just kidding. It was going to be Zapata.
Oh, okay.
It was Zapata. All right. Well, with my 20th pick, I'm trying to choose between 2. You know what? I'm going to go outside the box. This guy, and I don't think anybody's been taken from his team so far, but I really like adding him to my offensive line, and I like the way he plays on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to pull up his stats so we can see him. But with my 20th pick, I'm going to go to the Webb School, and I'm going to take their senior number 70, Isaac Williams. And so I pretty much have my offensive line locked in. For me, with Tanner Sturgis, Zane Quibido, and Isaac Williams, those are three big boys that they can hold their own, and they're going to be able to get some major push for James Redding and the other running backs that I pick.
Yeah, he's just another guy to cap off that crazy line that y'all have. But our run game's gonna be pretty good, James. You might have some trouble.
All right. Well,
if this actually happened.
listen. If we go two down linemen, then I could just rotate one guy in there, and everybody could just play two plays and then get a play off. So I'm pretty set. Set. Anyways, all right. So, Mr. Austin, you have the 21st pick.
I'm going to take Graham Harrison from FCA because I really want to see him and Zane go up against each other, and I think he's quietly one of the best, if not like top 3 linemen in the league after this season.
You would take Mr. Harrison. And the crazy thing about him is I think it's since 7th or 8th grade he's been at FCA, and he's been there forever. I think it is 7th grade. I think he's been there, and he's. Do you have his stats?
Let me check.
One thing I would like to say about Harrison real quick is that he always. Can you mute your mic, please?
Yes.
Sir?
Yeah, he's a super humble guy, a really quiet guy, but you get him out there on the field, and man,
you get him with Zane or anybody from FCA.
Yeah, exactly. You get him around the right people, and he's going to loosen up a little bit. He's going to have some fun. That's pretty. So who is your line? Like, let's just say offensive line. Who is your line so far at this point, Isaiah? I know you have your brother and Graham, and you got Tillman. Oh, that is a crazy offensive line.
Yeah. But
that's pretty sick.
I was going to look up the stats real quick, and it looks like he didn't play a ton of defense. I mean, of course, the stats might be messed up from this, but
right.
I got him down for about 30 tackles this year, which is still pretty good, and one reception for 3 yards.
On the D line.
One reception for 3 yards. That's pretty exciting. No, that's from 7th grade.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, kicked me off. It kicked me off Discord for a second. Sorry about that.
So moral to Yeah, and he did his job. I mean, in a perfect world, the nose guard only gets about 10 or 20 tackles in an entire season. That's if the other guys are doing their job, which they definitely did. And it's cute. How? No comment. You ready for my next pick?
No, I get the next pick, man. Come on.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Keep up with the time. I'm good. I'm just kidding. Well, with this pick, I'm going to pretty much force your hand as to who you're going to take at this position for your two guys. I'm going to go get me a backup quarterback, and I'm going to go get me but I say backup. He's going to be a starter, obviously, in the All-Star game. I'm going to go get me a junior, and I really want to see what he does his senior year. And I really like the way he slings the ball down the field. He's got chemistry with one of my other receivers. I'm going to go back to Lighthouse Christian, and I'm going to take number 2, Ricky McDowell at quarterback.
Yeah, that is a really good pick, and that really does force my hand here because I don't have a quarterback yet, and you have two outstanding quarterbacks.
I believe
Well, but
the best quarterback stuff.
you have. I mean, you. Now that's not to say the two quarterbacks that you're going to pick. That's you. Pretty much you've got two quarterbacks who are still super solid, and
And
they're
he has
both
some-
seniors.
And
Oh yeah,
Isaiah,
and
you have this Chantel.
yeah, and I know who I'm picking next, and it's a quarterback.
Oh, all right.
Better be the best quarterback in the league.
Okay, hold on. Since you asked me, I got to ask you: were either of those quarterbacks the first quarterback on your draft board?
No, Dustin Stinsby was actually my second pick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead with your pick.
I just feel like his leadership was unparalleled. I had to put him up there. But
All right. Well, you've got what is it? What are we at now? 23?
23.
23. All right.
okay, I am going to take quarterback for Webb, Greg Kilpatrick.
That's really solid.
Yeah, when he has great receivers like Jack James, and they would probably like to put Andrew Schindel at their receiver. I mean, he's really going to shine in this All-Star game, no matter who's there. You saw him with Frey this year. I mean, they connected so much this year, and his QBR is pretty fantastic. He threw 24 touchdowns and only 9 picks, almost 1,700 yards.
And not just Frey, but you had Jake Wright too, who, let me remind you, he's still on the board.
Yeah. I was wanting to draft him. I know Trent probably wants me to. That's one of his favorite players. But yeah, I know he's a really, really good linebacker. So I'll probably try to get him here in a couple of picks.
So basically, you're saying that if your last name begins with a B and ends with an R, and you wear a green jersey, then when draft day comes around, you should be you might as well just go ahead and bring your home jersey, and you can bring your away for practices, but you should pretty much go ahead and bring that green. Okay, so here's the thing.
Wait.
Hendersonville has green, white, and gold, like a cream. So who wears green and who wears cream? That's the question, because I think we should have all three uniforms. Why not put the coach and the quarterback together? I mean, why not? He's been with them for 2 years.
For that to happen for my team.
Anyways, all right. So with my 24th pick, I'm going to play right up Trent's alley, and I'm going to go get myself a linebacker.
All right, I'll go.
And I'm going to go get myself a linebacker. He had a good year at defensive end last year, and he switched to linebacker this year. And I really, really like what he's done. So I'm going to go get Junior John Stock. It's a fun name to say, John Stock.
Couldn't have made a better pick.
But I'm gonna go get me a linebacker for Bowling Green Christian.
Couldn't have made a better pick myself.
You know, this guy Trent is always talking him up. Like I trust Trent when it comes to teams I haven't seen yet because he's usually right, and I'm trusting him on this.
Try to pull his stats up right now, and of course, my internet is not working. Amazing MDI Construction Inc. internet. There we go. Okay. I'm going to pull his stats.
Well, since I know a lot of that.
Let me hit my mic. I remember the one against Ryan Scott in the Bowling Green, Tennessee Heat game where Ryan Scott, he's in the shotgun, he takes the snap, and rolls left like he's going to, because he's notorious for QB runs. So he tucks the ball and he's going to run. And John Stock starts over far side linebacker. And you see him track the play, and he closed in. And, of course, he wears the mushroom hat, so you know who it is. But he closed in, and, man, we saw that hit. And I think you were you there with me at the Bowling Green Heat game?
Yes.
Yeah, you were there with me. And he came in, and, man, I haven't heard a hit like that in a while, since maybe the CCS FCA game. That was the last time I've heard that. But before that, it was John Stock just here's what it sounded like. I mean, it's just straight up knocking him on his Batushi. So I don't know where Batushi came from. I'm going to get his stats. All right, John Stock, 35 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and a sack and an interception. So solid pick at linebacker. I like what he's done. I like what he brings to you on the offensive line at like a guard, because at some point these big boys are going to need a break. And so I think that he's going to be the perfect guy to kind of sub in on a pass play that, or a run play, really. If you have a run play going to the right, your guard needs to be smaller. So he's a little pulling guard for you. And he just even though he's small, he's a pulling guard that's going to clear a major path for guys like James Redding.
All right. I am going to take Jackson Daughter from CCS, 59 tackles and 130 in the past 2 years.
Wow, that's player. Jackson Daughter.
Say that again.
Linebacker. Trent was asking where he was at. He played linebacker primarily this year. Yeah. Yeah. But that's a really solid pick. I don't know. Did you have his stats, or can you get those pulled up?
Yeah. He had 59 tackles, 130 tackles in the past 2 years. I mean, ridiculous. He's
and to be honest, choice. I think that's another. And I'm not gonna blame this on the head coaches, but I think that's another guy. I think that's another situation where there's no way that might be his stats for the whole year, but there's a possibility that it's not. And if it's not, then that's absolutely 59 tackles is ridiculous. But if it's not all of his stats, that's ridiculous as well. So
yeah,
that's a really solid pick.
I don't think CCS has uploaded stats for the playoffs yet, so that could easily jump to 70 or 80.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. All right, so what are we at, 24? 26. All right, 26 out of 40. No, 26 out of 36. Yeah,
I'll let you know
26 out of 36. All right. So with my pick, I'm actually going to take one of your quarterback's favorite targets away. And I like what this guy does. He's a big target. He's a guy that can line up wide and go one-on-one and beat quarterbacks. He's the guy that's kind of helped get rid of the stereotype that everyone always said, well, wide receivers and 8-man cannot beat quarterbacks one-on-one. That's why you don't need a safety. When this guy's on the field, you better bring a safety on the field because he's going to eat you alive. So with my pick, I'm going to go to Hendersonville Christian Academy, and I'm going to go get senior Jalen Cole. I believe that sometimes he wears number 88, but I like what he brings as a big target. And could you imagine Ricky McDowell, as big as he is, throwing to Jalen Cole? I mean, that ball could be easily 7 foot off the ground, 8 foot off the ground, and you have a little 5'10" defensive back. There is no chance of him even getting that. So I like what Jalen's been able to do this year. So Jalen Cole is my pick at number 26.
He was a huge target for Bader this year. He received for almost 300 yards this year.
I'll tell you the crazy thing is Cole went down with an injury it was against you guys. He went down with an ankle injury against you guys and then sat out a couple games and came back for the Swanee game. I think he sat out like 2 weeks and was right back for Swanee and then went and played at Riverside. And so I'm excited to have him come to the game, and I like what he brings. And I like what he brings at I think he plays defensive back maybe. Defensive back or linebacker. So I like that as well. But I'm pretty confident about that pick.
All right. So for my next pick, what number are we at now?
27.
27. Okay. So I mean my running back position is pretty stacked, but I feel like you can't have too many running backs because these guys are going to be asked to play a lot on defense, and it's going to be really good for rotation and special teams too. So I'm going with John Buchanan. I think he had a really, really, really joining the team a couple games into the season because he transferred to the CBS. He really had a great
You mean
season.
from Centennial?
Yeah, and through his first 5 games, he had over 500 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's not even counting that game we saw on Saturday. That was crazy.
And he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, and he's only going to get bigger and faster. I mean, I would be scared if I was still playing.
He's one of those guys you got to worry about that, he might just stick around FCA for a year and then pop back to Centennial as a senior because he's going to be that good. Because if he stayed at 8-man, there's a possibility he could dominate his senior year and just absolutely be crazy. I mean, FCA, if he stuck around, FCA could potentially be the 2018 NTAC champions with that type of running game and then having guys like Daniel Holcomb at quarterback.
Yeah, you're losing Weeks, of course, in the backfield, and that's a huge blow. But at the same time, John Buchanan is really, really growing up and understanding how to play the 8-man game. Has a year under his belt. Definitely got way better during the season than he was at the very beginning. I mean, every game he gets better. They have a really bright future at running back. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in the championship next.
All right, well, with my 14th pick and our 28th overall pick, I actually had to take my original pick earlier on in the draft when you took my guy. But I'm going to take a guy, and again, he's another guy. He was a great player on a team that struggled. I don't want to say terrible team, a team that struggled. And I like what this guy's done. He was at the All-Star game last year, and he played up to getting to play in the All-Star game. He has a lot of passion for the game. He enjoys it, and he's really a guy that if he needs to get subbed in for Quibido, well, not really Quibido at center, but Sturgis or Williams or whoever, if he needs to get rotated out or even put at defensive end, he's a solid defensive end. But I'm going to go get Ethan Garrison from the Madisonville Defenders, and he's the only guy from the Defenders we have picked so far this year. And what? No. And I like what he's done. So Ethan Garrison from Madisonville is my pick.
Didn't get a chance to see Madisonville this year, but I've heard good things about him as well.
Yeah, I like what he's able to do, and I feel I have a pretty solid offensive/defensive line set up. But of course, I mean, we could still technically we set it up so you could take 5 offensive/defensive linemen. So I've still got one guy left that I could take. Or there's a couple guys left that I could take, but anyway. So Mr. Austin, you have the 29th pick, I believe.
Okay, so I got a lot of receivers, but I mean, this guy's been left off the board for way too long. He deserves to be on this team. He's great on offense and defense. So with my pick, I'm going to go with Jake Wright from Webb.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good. He took Jake Wright.
Hey.
Trent was asking. He likes that pick. And what's really good about that pick is you're going to have his quarterback. So,
yeah.
They already have that chemistry built up. And that's crazy. Yeah, but and he helps you at the defensive back position as well. Matter of fact, I've got Webb's stats pulled up. I'm gonna look them up real quick. Let's see if I pull up with this stupid computer. No, that's a good pick. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to really, from this point, to really pick players because they're all so good. You can imagine them doing so much for your team. It's really hard to decide at this point.
Yeah, I want to agree with
Did James get kicked off Discord again?
No, I was on mute.
Oh, okay.
I'm back. I have a problem with that. You can ask Spencer. Anyways, no, I was saying I pulled up his offensive stats. 8 games, he had 32 catches, 482 yards, so he averaged 15 yards a catch, 8 touchdowns, and then on the defensive side of the ball, he had, get this, as a defensive back, okay, 64 tackles total on the year, and then he actually picked up a sack at some point, and he had an interception, 4 passes defensed, a fumble recovery, and a forced fumble. So that's just I think that's ridiculous.
You get a really, really good offensive, also one of the best defensive players. I don't know why he didn't go sooner.
Well, it's because, we have to pick 18 guys. But anyways, congratulations to the 29 guys picked so far, and we're really excited to have you guys come up to date. Well, I've got pick number 30. And I just took an offensive lineman. I know that. I took a lineman in general. But I'm going to take another lineman. And you've got one of his partners there on the offensive line. But I really like what he does. He's a solid – he plays linebacker too. So he gives me a little bit of an option at linebacker. But I'm going to go to St. Andrews Swanee, and I'm going to go get their senior, number 52, Justin Elguhari. I think I'm saying that right. Elguhari. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm going to take Justin E. as like an offensive lineman to play. And, of course, when we say offensive lineman, we know that y'all play several positions. We use the positions to organize organize the who all is coming. That way it's not just a big blob. That way we don't take, if we say, okay, we're going to have 36 guys come, that way we don't take 30 skill guys and 6 linemen. We make sure that it's even and spread out. So I really am excited about my offensive line. Ethan Garrison, Justin Elguhari, Isaac Williams, Zane Quibido, and Tanner Sturgis. I think those are 5 guys that I would actually, like, if I was playing an 11-man game, I would feel completely comfortable having those 5 as my offensive line, because every single one of them brings something to the table.
Yeah, and he's part of the great defensive success from Swanee. You remember they had a 2-game stretch, or was it 3, where nobody scored on them, and that's saying a lot in 8-man.
It was 2. It was Riverside and the Heat back-to-back, and then they went and gave up I hate to say it, they gave up 14 to y'all. Yeah, we don't – that's the game we do not speak of. Anyways, all right, so that's 30. So now we are pick 31, and we only have 36, so we are getting now near the end of this.
Okay, so for my 31st pick, I'm going to take Justin Bader as a quarterback. I would like to alternate snaps with them because I feel like Justin Bader and Greg Kilpatrick brings the pocket passing. I feel like Justin Bader's one of the best, if not the best, dual threat quarterback in the league. And he threw for 177 yards a game. I didn't know that, but I mean, he really was the reason why that offense worked.
There's a reason why I said he's the best quarterback in the league.
Well, he's on up there. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks. There's some good – we had a good quarterback at runner-up this year at Christian Community. He was solid too. Nathaniel Rowley. He had a lot to play. He's only a junior, though, so he's still got a senior year next year, have a heck of a year, and who knows? He could be there. So with my pick, I'm going to go get me a wide receiver. And Trent's going to like this wide receiver. He's a big guy. This is his 2nd straight year at the All-Star game. He doesn't look like a great receiver when you see him maybe walking around. But when he puts that helmet on and he straps those goggles on, he turns it on. So I'm going to go to Bowling Green Christian. I'm going to go get me senior number 20, Spencer Baird.
Great pick.
That wide receiver.
Wonderful pick. Isaiah is speechless.
Isaiah is
Sorry,
speechless at my point.
I'm here, but I have no I am speechless. But no, I don't I haven't seen. We didn't get a chance to play any of these guys this year. I mean, not a lot of stats on max preps for them.
Well, they didn't put their stats on max prep. I've got. Let's see. I got his stats here. For the games that he has stats, because I guess there were some games he didn't play in or
missed the one he missed. I forgot who it was, but he missed the game.
Okay, so he had a little bit of injury problems this year. But the games he did play in, he had 11 catches, 352 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So, and that's, let's see, he had stats for 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 games. So in 5 games, he had 11 catches, 352 yards, and 5 catches. 2 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown every game. So he's gonna give you about a 35, 40-yard touchdown, and then he's gonna get you another big completion at some point in the game too. So I think his best game was actually against Riverside, 5 catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown, which that's a really solid outing. So I'm gonna pretty much wrap up my wide receiver, defensive back, defensive end position. And I like what Spencer has done on the defensive side of the ball too.
Yeah, he had a pick six.
He had a pick six at the end. Yeah, he played those 5 games. At 5 games, 19 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, an interception, and 2 defensive touchdowns. I guess he got a scooping score at one point against Madisonville. So Spencer Bear, I like what he brings to the table. So, Mr. Austin, I think you have the 31st overall pick.
I do, and I think it's about time for me to get my Dan Adams from CCS. Great kicker all year long, can boot it deep. Again.
I hate to do this to you again, but I don't think Dan is going to be there.
Oh, right.
And we actually heard that he got hurt in one of the games. I don't remember which one it was, but he actually injured his ring finger on his hand. So in terms of kicking, he could run on the field, kick, and then leave. We're not 100% sure. He might still be able to come and handle kicking responsibilities, but I'm not 100% sure. The other kicker, I'll go ahead and say, the other kicker that we have designated as a kicker, but he plays wide receiver and defensive back. The other kicker is Riley Davis from Bowling Green Christian, so you might want to take him instead.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Hey. Don't sound so down.
I made Trent really happy there.
Well, that's 2 Bowling Green.
You heard him. He's like, yeah. You like that pick.
Bowling Green.
You like that pick. No, that's solid. And like I said with Riley, he gives you flexibility at both wide receiver and cornerback, and he can nail some field goals too.
And he plays defensive end.
And he plays defensive end at times and middle line. I mean, he can roam for you. I can pull his stats up in just a second. Let's see. Riley Davis is right here. Excuse me. Riley Davis. So rushing, 16 carries, 85 yards. Receiving, 22 catches. 433 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then let me see if I can go to his kicking stats. They didn't keep track of him, apparently. They didn't keep track of his kicking stats. Defensively, 42 tackles, 3 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and an interception. So he gives you a lot. He's kind of like Gabe Stevens, the kicker I took, where he's going to give you some action there at defensive end or defensive back, and he's going to be pretty solid for you there.
Yeah, I really like that pick because you get not only a kicker but a great offensive and defensive player, a guy that knows how to compete against the best. Yeah, I really like that pick there. And after reading his stats, I really think he should have gone up a little bit further.
All right.
I cannot agree with you more.
So
thank you, Trent.
I think there's some guys on here. I'm gonna look at the list real quick and see, because I don't think everybody on there that's coming. All right. So with my pick, trying to see where I need to beef up a little bit. And I know, let's see. Trying to see, I got linebackers. Let's look at defensive back. I mean, we're getting down here. There's not very many guys left to pick. There's still a Bowling Green guy. Yeah, there's a Heat guy. Lighthouse. Yeah, there's still some good quality players on the board right now.
You can't make a wrong pick in this league.
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where now it's not, you gotta have to make an excellent pick. You know what? I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm gonna pull the trigger on this one, and I am going to. Let me double check myself. Let me make sure this is correct. Check yourself or you wreck yourself. Yeah, I'm pretty solid with this pick. I'm gonna go get how many? We're not at we're at like 30. This is what 33.
34.
This is 34.
He just had 33.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's why there's only 3 guys on the board left. All right. Well, I'm gonna go get a. I'm gonna go get me a wide receiver / defensive back that did not play last year, but this year he's only got to play in 6 games, but I've got his quarterback, and they have chemistry, man. They light it up along with the other wide receiver. So I'm going to go to Lighthouse Christian School, and I'm going to go get senior number 10, Parker Dillon. And I really, really like my receiver core. If you take a look at it, it's Malik McMurray, McMurray, Jalen Cole, Parker Dillon, and hold on just a second. Colton Rollins gives me some wide. So I've kind of built my offense, though. I've got some receivers, but I've kind of built my offense around the run game to a certain extent. But you got some good running backs too there, Isaiah.
Yeah, I think this team would be absolutely explosive. We got a really, really good passing game with a pocket quarterback and a dual threat quarterback. And, in my opinion, the 2 best running backs, not counting Xavier in the league.
So Isaiah is left with the decision of choosing. Now, he gets the next to last pick, but he also gets to choose who is the last pick. So by not picking him. So, Mr. Austin, who is the second to the last pick?
Oh.
Is there 3? Well.
Gage Holman.
Oh, you like that pick. No, he's off. I took Isaac.
You did.
I took Isaac, yeah. Yeah. Did you hear that pick? Did you hear who you took?
I couldn't have said the name better myself.
Sorry.
Gage Holman is who Isaiah just took next to last, and it's a good pick. Trent's a big fan, and actually, well, go ahead. Go ahead. And let me bring up his stats. 59 carries, 657 yards, 11 touchdowns. He had 7 catches, 138 yards, and 3 touchdowns, so he gives you a red zone threat. And then on the defensive side, 13 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 4 defensive. Did he return all of his interceptions for touchdowns? I mean, he had to have. Maybe Coach Don Brown can chime in, but he had to have returned them all for touchdowns. That's a really, really solid pick, Colton.
All right, so
Isaiah. Why did I say Colton?
Y'all
Colton?
get used to it. Y'all get used to it.
All right. Well, I'm given the last pick, and obviously it's obvious who I not who I have to take, who I wanted to take. This guy is fiery. This guy is a guy who stats do not prove who he is. And you have to watch this guy play to see the impact he has. He's also a good kicker. So I've really got 3 kickers on my roster right now. I got Riley Hall, I've got this guy, and I've got Gabe Stevens. So Micah DeGrude, in the NFL world, he would be considered Mr. Irrelevant. But he's going to be very, very relevant at that All-Star game, and he has been relevant all season long. So that is my final pick, my 18th final pick. I took Micah DeGrude. So, and here's a funny thing. So, Isaiah, you took Zapata. I happen to know that Zapata and DeGrude live close to each other, and they're good friends. So, that's going to be interesting. I'm going to enjoy seeing them go head to head with each other.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That and Zane Quibido and Graham. That would be really fun matchups to watch.
Wow, look at this. Y'all go follow Tanner Sturgis on Instagram. Stick Tan 6. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways,
I can't hear you very well.
It's through my phone. Yeah. All right. Well, let me try this.
I can hear you now.
Go ahead. You can hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? A little bit. Let me try. Well, we're about to wrap up anyways. But what was it? Yeah. So let me.
I got it.
All right. Trent's been keeping up with them.
So you like.
There we go. How about that? Is that good? All right. I like it. I like the fact that I've got some gritty defensive linemen, and I've got some offensive linemen who are just bad dudes, and they're gonna push some dudes around. They're some big boys. These are not little boys at all. So I'm gonna give the NACA kitchen ladies a fair warning. They're coming. They're coming fast. But anyways, I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the All-Star game, guys. I mean, we've only got 2 more days, and then you guys are going to start making the trip up. All the players will arrive at least by noon on Thursday, and then we'll do the draft. We'll have the broadcast. What? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Isaiah, Trent's going to run down through your team real quick, and then you're both going to give analysis of your team.
All right. Well,
Boom. Yep. Trent, do you only like 4 players in the league? Like, oh, you got him.
He's like, there's just 4. There's just 4. Like, okay, so if you guys were watching the live broadcast on Saturday night, we accidentally did not know that our mics were live. So we like to give Trent a hard time because of quote unquote Bowling Green bias. And there's been players that he's wanted, and you know, there's a lot of factors that go into us picking players. A lot of people have asked about it. It's not just stats, it's video, it's face to face, it's talking to other players, it's talking to coaches, it's leadership, it's character. I mean, if you've got a terrible character but you're great on the field, I'm sorry, but that's not the kind of guys we want at the All-Star game. So a lot of stuff has gone into a lot of factors have gone into picking these guys, and I think all of these guys have great character. They're great teammates, great leaders, great people. If they're saved, they're great Christians and solid. They're active in their church. They're just good kids, and so we're excited to honor all of them. But go ahead, finish.
All right, Isaiah, your team when he meets.
Yeah, and I like the team too because 90% of the guys had playoff experience this year. They led their teams to the playoffs or the bowl game. So I like
that. Is my mic on? Okay, that's really good. That's really good thought. I took a lot of unproven, gritty, raw guys that maybe were on bad teams and were the best players, and you took a lot of highlight guys. Now, I took some highlight guys. I got Colton Rollins. I got Malik McMurray. Who? No. Huh? Let me see my list. I can't even remember. When you pick 18 guys, you can't remember everybody. I took, Riley Hall. I took John. I took some stars, and I feel great about my team. I think these two teams are that. But of course, this mock draft doesn't mean because on Thursday, just after noon, we will broadcast the draft. Guys are chopping away on pizza probably, but we will have broadcast the draft. Excited to bring you all that. Excited about the All-Star.
We can't hear you very well, Jay.
Here? How about that? Is that better?
That's a lot.
I'm on like 3 mics to my mouth. Anyways, we're excited about the All-Star game. Excited about the draft. Isaiah's going to be up there. Trent's going to be up there. Elijah, Spencer, myself. We're going to have a lot of fun. Coach Daniel Meek, a huge thank you. Big shout out to him. Big shout out to Ryan Scott for volunteering their time to be the coaches for the All-Star games, for the All-Star teams, and that means a lot. So that's pretty much it.
I want to ask Isaiah one thing.
Hit me. Yeah, I got it up on my computer right now. Well, I don't have that. What are your problems exactly? 30, that's really specific.
All you got to do is say, okay, there's 36 guys. I only have 35. So who's the 36th guy?
Yeah, but that's
come on, Trent.
For me.
All you had to do was keep it. I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time. Anyways, maybe you guys can comment and tell us if you were number 31. And if you were number 31 and you comment and you tell us you were 31 and you're correct, Trent will buy you lunch at the All-Star game. Lunch is on Trent.
Trent will buy you on Thursday, right?
He's saying, I'll buy you the pizza that's already going to be bought. No.
I'll bring it to you.
And it won't be a Ruth's Chris because there's not a Ruth's Chris in Dayton. I think there's like some Mexican restaurants and stuff. But hey, you guys go to down. I know on Friday we'll have some free time. You guys go down, enjoy some time in Dayton. It's a great little town. There's some Mexican restaurants, but go have fun in town. Go be a good influence and kind of help give a good name to 8-Man Extreme, the All-Star game, and to Fort Bluff Camp in the NACA. They have a great reputation down there from all the tournaments they have. If you're a parent and you want to come down and stay, they've got a bunch of hotels down there in Dayton, areas around that, and so you might be able to get a room, just kind of hang out up there. And I know my mics might be bad, but guys, I think that's about it. You got more? You got another thing? He's a terrible fallen. He's a terrible follow. You can follow Isaiah Austin. You can try to follow me. I'm not going to guarantee that I'll accept your follow request. I'm just kidding. It's at JMSSHNNN. So, or you could just type in James Shannon, and you can go follow Isaiah Austin. And Spencer Tom says Gentleman's Fedora. Elijah Jones is on there. And Isaiah, what's your Instagram handle?
Isaiah_Austin 321.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty basic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm from Florida and the 321 area code. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right. I see.
Kind of has a ring to it.
I see you. All right. Well, guys, I think that's about it. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed. I'm excited about the 36 guys that get to come up to Dayton to play in the All-Star game. I mean, we have some super. You played last year, Trent, and you were around the guys. And no knock to those guys that were there. And we only had 28 guys there, but we have some stars there this year that I don't think we're going to have a 28-13 game this year. I think we can have a 61-58 game. All right. Well, Isaiah, you got anything? Are you still with us, Isaiah?
I just got back.
Okay.
No, my voice cut out.
Okay, you good. Just wondering if you got any final thoughts. Isaiah, are you there? Isaiah. All right. Well, I guess Isaiah is out. Are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry. I think I lost internet for a second.
You're good. Just wondering if you had any final thoughts after I had a blast with this mock draft and just being hypothetical, but just wondering if you have any final thoughts.
Yeah, congratulations to all the guys who made it this year. It's going to be a fun weekend, just like last year, and I'll be there if anybody needs incentive to go.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's about it. So for Trent Legate, Isaiah Austin, Spencer Thompson had the night off. Elijah Jones, who's the other team captain. I'm James Shannon. Thank you all so much for listening. Congratulations to the 36 All-Stars. We'll see you guys in Dayton. Y'all make sure that you catch the broadcast of the draft, and then the All-Star game, Extreme All-Star game, is Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, because they're an hour ahead of us. So 2 p.m. Eastern, make sure that y'all go check that out. Thank y'all so much for listening, and y'all have a great rest of the night. We'll see you Thursday.